In life sometimes it's not the big mistakes that make you feel like a failure. It is the small ones, the silent ones even that you make that makes you feel like that. Those times when you are so certain that you're doing something right, but it's actually not the right thing. During my service year as a Christian student leader in the university, I made quite a few mistakes that I can say in hindsight cost me a lot. But also, those mistakes I made benefited me a lot in the long run. And I almost feel like if I didn't make those, I wouldn't have learned those things as graphically as I have learned them now. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about two of those big mistakes that I made. And looking back at it, that season taught me that leadership is more about people than about performance. And I'm going to be sharing two of those stories, and I'm going to show you what I've learned from it and how that you might have failed at something in your life. It might be in your career, it might be in business, it might be in education. You might have failed at something, it might even be in ministry, but there is something big that matters more than that failure that would be coming out of that experience. So hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Goodness Eze. I am a multimedia creative, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about things that matter in the real world. I like to have difficult and real conversations, and I like to be honest and share stories like I'm about to share, and just talk about subjects and topics that do matter in the real world. If you're new here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notifications button so that you get notified when there's new content on the channel. Also, please do well to like the video so that the algorithm would show even more people this video. In one of my very first videos on this channel, I shared my story of how I got depressed after handing over after serving as a student church leader. So quick backstory: while I was in the university, I was the fellowship president of one of, if not the biggest fellowship on the campus at the time. And I was handed over to at a young age, and God gave me a word. God gave me a vision, to carry into that assignment. And I was convinced that it was going to be a success. And, I'm a very driven person. I knew that all I needed to do was to have that vision crystallize in my head, and I'm going to run with it. I'm going to do everything to ensure that I achieved everything that God had put in my heart for us to achieve. So I had a vision. Some of the things I wanted us to achieve was to have a church, a fellowship that truly mirrored what the early church looked like. So I was particular about cell units. I was very particular about cell units, even more so than, the main gathering together on Sunday services. I was particular about, having people feel like they belonged to a family, genuinely feel like they belonged to the family. And I remember the first few meetings I had with the executives, I kept hammering. I remember, talking to my cell leaders coordinator at the time and telling her, I said, see, I'm particular about this unit. I want us to do this. I want us to do that. All of this, I put the vision out there plain and clear, and I'm like, hey guys, we can do this. I want us to go on and do it. And it started well. I've always been a big proponent of leading by example, leading in such a way that I do my part, I do my job, and I do it well. I ensure that I put in my best into what I do. And I hoped that everybody around me, my subordinates, would see that and say, hey, he's doing his thing. I should be able to do my thing, I just felt like if I did that, everything would be fine. Everybody would, pull their weight, and then we'll get to where we needed to get. I was pretty stern on people who didn't do their job, because I felt, hey, I'm doing mine, so you should do your job, right? Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that? I was sort of hard on people who didn't do what was expected of them. I was hard on people who didn't seem to understand the vision that I was putting in place, forgetting that it was my duty primarily to help them to understand the vision. But I felt that as long as I have put the vision on the table and I was doing my job, you should be able to run with it and do your job as well. So I thought that leadership was about doing my job and ensuring that every other person did theirs. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. So I was focused on me getting things done and everybody else getting things done, so much so that I forgot one of the most important aspects of leadership, which is relationship. You see, it's much easier to have people run with a vision when they can connect with you on a personal level. You can't lead people that can't connect with you on a personal level. The way the biblical standard of leadership. I wasn't just like taken away from my team. It wasn't like I didn't relate to my team at all. I did, and in fact I was quite playful. I'm a really playful person, and I was like that. But I didn't intentionally try to create a relationship with most of them. And because of that, I felt like I wasn't really aware of what was going on in their hearts. I wasn't really aware of some of the struggles they might have had or something going on. I wasn't really aware. I was just in my own element. Let me do my job, you do yours. And because of that, they would of course try to do their job because of course I was always on their necks, right? But again, it's much, much more easier when I can connect with them, when they can see what I'm driving at, when they can see that I love them. Of course I love them, but did they see that I love them? I don't think they did. So a leader must be able to create relations. I remember how that after handing over, I was in a conversation with one of my executives at the time, and this is a guy, and we're just at a space together, and we were having a conversation. And this is me, of course, after having realized that this was a mistake that I made, how that when we were serving, I never really intentionally tried to create meaningful relationships, on an emotional level with my team. And this is me after handing over, now trying to do this. And I just got the feeling that the guy felt it was awkward. He felt it was awkward, and it was like, in his mind, I'm sure it would have been like, what are you doing? Why are you asking me these questions? Like, when we were working together, you never even asked me these questions. And I wouldn't blame him for that, right? It didn't feel it safe to open up to me because he had always seen me as this leader that, wasn't really interested in your emotional needs or anything, just wants you to get work done and all of that. And that was one very big mistake that I made. Those experiences just brought me to the realization that, hey, you can't lead people who don't know that you love them. It's one thing for you to love people. It's another thing for them to know that you love them. Like I said, I loved my guys. I really did. But I never showed it to them. Or the way I showed it to them was not in a way that would make them feel like I did. And you can't love people that you don't know. You can't show your love to people that you don't know. So if I had actually stopped to get to know my guys on a personal basis, and we were not many, we're less than 20 if I remember correctly. So I could have easily, at least to an extent, gotten to know each of them. I would have known how to connect with them. In fact, I would have known how to get them to do their work, because people are different. I would have known that, this person needs a little bit of motivation. This person needs a little bit of pressure. This person needs this. This person needs that. I would have understood that better, gotten an extra 5-10% out of everybody. And we're all happy. We'll do our job. We'll have a good relationship, and it's all happy days. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. And this is a lesson to every young leader out there that, hey, this is something that is so important. Like I said, you can't lead people who do not know that you love them. And of course, the second part of it was, in terms of the communication of the vision. And one of the reasons why the vision I had in my head when we started didn't exactly materialize was because of the whole relationship issue that I mentioned earlier. But secondly, I think I did not communicate that vision well. You see, the Bible makes us understand that we should write the vision, make it plain on tables, that they may run, that you communicate the vision so clearly that anybody who sees it understands it enough to run with it. And I think I was very ambiguous. I wasn't clear enough when I was communicating what we wanted to do. And, again, there might have been mitigating factors, right? I've talked about some of these mitigating factors, and maybe I'm going to have another episode where I go deeply into some of the issues that school fellowship setting really has, because I actually think it's not fit for purpose, especially today. But that's going to be talk for another day, right? So yes, there were mitigating factors, but I also did not help matters. You see, the communication of the vision is so important. I remember having a conversation with one of my executives, interestingly enough, one of the few of them that I'm still close to now. And we're talking about it, and I was telling her about something I used to say in our executive meetings at the time, how that, I said it a couple of times that this, these were the things I wanted us to do. And she couldn't remember I ever said that. Maybe it was the words I used. Maybe it was the manner of communication. Maybe it was the ambiguity in my speech. But she couldn't remember. And this is me thinking that, oh, everybody knew what I was talking about. Everybody understood what I was talking about, but she couldn't remember. I'm just saying that the communication of the vision is so important. And that's what helps people to be able to read the vision and run with it. And of course, like I said before, because I hadn't built a proper relationship with them, it was even harder to pass the message across. It felt like I was leading from instruction rather than inspiration. And I believe that that's one of the most dangerous places to lead from. Like it's a recipe for failure. But this is the point. I made these failures, but I learned from them. And I can sit here, face the camera, and talk about it with a smile on my face, because I know that if I'm in that situation again, I would not make the same mistake, right? And that's the beautiful thing about failures. The Lord told me, I remember in my, getting to the end of my tenure, that all my experiences in that space was not for that space, but was for the future. You see, the failures that you have had, you would not repeat those failures again, because you have learned how not to do that thing. You started a business and the business crashed. You have learned one more way not to run a business. That is how we should see failure. So I failed in the major thing that God asked me to do while I was in school. But did I really fail? Because now I've picked up that understanding, that knowledge. I can apply it in my situations, and I can teach people as well. I can face the camera and talk about it, and it's all good. So I'm trying to say that the failures that you might be having is for the future. It is for the future. And you should only see failure as a learning process. So for me, I have realized that leadership is not just about carrying your vision. It's also about, and it's even more about, carrying people along. If you look at the style, the leadership style of Jesus, this is one of the main things you would learn. It's about the people. He focused more on the 12 than on anything else, than on anybody else. It's about the people you're leading with. It's not about being excellent. It's not only about being excellent at your work, at your job, at the job you have to do. It's about being intentional about the relationships that you create. Because at the end of the day, people will remember you more for how you made them feel than for how perfect your systems were. So if you're a young leader, anywhere you find yourself, don't just build systems, build people. Focus on creating relationships. Focus on connecting with your subordinates on a personal level. Let them see you. Let them see you. Let them feel like they are heard. Let them feel like you're their friend. Let them know that you love them, because when people feel seen, the vision just shines brighter. They're able, like I said earlier, to, run with it, and everybody will be better for it, So, I failed that once. I have learned from it, and that failure has become one of my best teachers so far. If this spoke to you, do well to share it to someone, share it to a leader or someone might be having these issues, or having issues coming to terms with a failure that they might have had at some point in their lives. So yeah, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be having the next video by the grace of God again next week, Friday. If you haven't, please subscribe to our channel and click on the notifications button, like the video as well, and share with your family and friends. And also drop a comment. Let's know one failure that you had that you have learned something very, very concrete and substantial from. So yeah, I'll be in the comments to reply to all the comments. Thank you again for watching. My name is Goodness Eze. See you on the next video. Adios.